sorted out all the power steering reservoir and pump, and also a coolant reservoir tank. So we've got two identical tanks from side to side, and come around here and have a look. I didn't want inside the engine bay an ugly power steering pump and all the drive belt system for it. So what we've done is we've got a Volvo electric hydraulic pump, and we've effectively rubber mounted it on exactly the Volvo, all the rubber mounts and everything, so it's completely mounted as it would be in the original car. So the next task is to weld a little fitting onto the bottom of this and have the pipe simply go from this top up reservoir to the main reservoir. We didn't want manky bolts or any fastenings coming through this firewall because we just want the thing to be perfectly smooth and clean. And so what we've done, if you come around this side, put the bolts in, take them out.
Yep.
We just glued on some aluminium blocks with a threaded insert effectively, and we're going to put epoxy glue around the outside of these and then put a carbon fibre patch over the top of them to hold them in place. And so that allows the fastener to be put in. Obviously we're going to use nice new fasteners, and it won't come through the other side, so it'll hopefully pretty cool. One of the projects that we've been working on for, well, forever is the X-pipe and all the stainless exhaust. So that is what we have built. What we haven't been able to decide is whether the truck's going to sound better with an X-pipe or with two separate straight pipe systems into mufflers. And so the solution was we built an X-pipe and we've also built straight pipe. So we've got flanges here, and we've also made a straight pipe to go through. So basically the first day we start the thing up, we can swap pipes over, and very quickly we're going to know which is going to sound better. Hopefully this, because we put an awful lot of work into it. So this week's job, the biggest job we've been working on, is the back of the cab. We've got our drive shaft safety hoop here, and the drive shaft comes through underneath this. Now, for those of you who are pretty onto it, this is not in the centre of the truck, and it's the reason is because the pinion on the diff is not centred. So what we're building here is the main structure to hold the back of the cab, but also to hold the exhaust hanger brackets, and we want them completely hidden effectively out of sight. So what we'll do is we'll just throw the exhaust on now and explain the brackets to you. Yeah, so we've effectively got V-band clips holding it all together.
Go.
We've made sure there's plenty of clearance around the chassis. And if you look further forward, I'm not sure if you can see, you might be able to look from underneath. So I'm not sure if that is easily seen on camera, but that is the front exhaust mount. And you can see the cat there. And that's this part here is actually at the original mounting point for the Toyota Century exhaust. And all we've done is modified the end of it. We've got some hanger bushes, or rubber mounts, and we didn't want them just hanging in space, so we've actually cut slots in underneath the chassis mounts, and they're going to mount up under there like that. We'll put a bolt through into a threaded boss, which we've already inserted into the back of this. And so all we need to simply do is weld on a piece of aluminium rod from here around and down onto the exhaust. So from underneath the truck, you'll look at that and hardly see any of it. So what we've done on the truck is we're building flat plate carbon, cutting it to shape, and then so that the top of the chassis we're going to bond the carbon plate to. So the carbon plate's going to go in. So once the chassis is completely painted, all rust proof, painted and actually painted with top coat, these will get bonded in, and once they're bonded in they'll be very, very stiff and very strong. And the underneath of them will remain clear finish, so when you look under the truck you'll have literally clear finish carbon fibre parts. So hopefully that'll look pretty cool. Well, that's it on the truck this week. We're going to spend the rest of the weekend and probably most of next week finishing that rear bulkhead. But what we should probably show you, we'll start to show you, is the other projects we have around. So this car here is a full space frame carbon fibre bodied 1958 Corvette. This is chassis 2. We've got, well, this is actually chassis 3. We've got 3 cars we're building, and they're all running LS7s in them. Over the next couple of episodes we'll start to introduce this car and the other 2 cars as well. But effectively it's a very, very comprehensive, very strong, stiff and light space frame chassis. We're running full inboard rockers. The LS sits with the front of the engine 300mm back, so a foot effectively back from your front axle, and the car's going to have about a 50-50 weight split. One of the fundamentally huge differences between what we're building here and almost any other Corvette, early model Corvette we've ever seen, is that we're going to run a transaxle in the back of it. The transaxle is out of a late model Corvette and it effectively sits in here. Now, a lot of people, when we initially started building this car, said you just can't do it. You can't fit a transaxle from a late model Corvette into a 1958 car, or C1, and we have. We will show you in the next month or so how we managed to do it. Effectively it's because of the chassis design, and it's also, we've done an extensive modification to the front of the gearbox itself and all the bell housings and torque tube. One of the other huge advantages in this particular car is that you're sitting about 5 inches lower in the car than a standard C1, and it's because the reason why you sit so much lower, or we can sit so much lower, is because we don't have a chassis to sit on like the original cars you sat on top of the chassis. What we've done is we put all the structure inside the sill itself, and so it's allowed, the original floor of the car is here, so it's allowed literally 4 inches to the chassis and another inch or so lower to the floor. And the other thing we've done, we didn't want to lengthen the doors. We wanted to keep the look of the car as close to factory original. So we've lengthened the footwell area considerably, and we've also moved the rear bulkhead back about 2 inches. So effectively what it's done is it's given us a tremendous amount of room inside the car. Even someone at 6'1", 6'2", instead of looking at the top of the windscreen, you're actually looking right through the middle of it. Yeah, so over the next few weeks, few months, we will start to show you a huge amount of what we're doing on these cars. whole body's carbon fibre, the whole floor pan's carbon fibre. All the suspension is inboard rockers, front and rear. And we'll go through the whole thing a little bit at a time and show you what we're doing and how we're doing it. What we're also doing is another couple of cars, and what our plan is to introduce us and the other cars over the next few videos. But I'll just quickly show you what they are. We're going through and sorting it out effectively. If you have a look through here, I was going to show you what rust we cut out, but the best way to explain it is you can see the floor. So we cut the whole bottom of the car out effectively. And we'll show you this over the next couple of months. We've managed to get a donor car, which was an identical year, that for some freak of nature or freak of something, every single piece of that car that we needed was in excellent condition, and the rest of the car was just totally rusted and destroyed. Just a really quick example is this car. These structural parts underneath were just missing. There was literally nothing left of them. And on the donor car, we've had these acid dipped. They look as good as new. They literally are as good as new. And by the time we epoxy paint all inside these parts before we re-weld them all together, the car would end up better than new. Okay, so this car, if it looks a little bit stacked in the corner, it is. It's currently on hold, but only because the owner of this car owns the Oldsmobile, and he brought the Oldsmobile in and said, hey, can you stop work for a few weeks on the Camaro? I've got a small rust issue on this thing. So this car's taking up the priority, I guess, but we're going to get back into this. This is a mixture of saving the old body shell and also building a full-on proper front clip for it. We've got an LSA in this, and we're also running inboard coilovers, and we're running C6 Corvette front suspension on it, and rear suspension as well.